Hola, welcome to my page. My name is Diana, and I'm the author of this book, How Spirituality Saved My Life. This is actually take two because there's a lot of, even though this is a very small book, there's a lot of personal things in this book, and a lot of it I don't feel comfortable reading out loud. If you really want to know, I encourage you to purchase the book. It's available. I'm going to post a link. Writers Republic is my publisher, and I'm so grateful for this journey. So let's get into it. It says here, growing up, I always knew I was different, but I didn't know why. A lifetime of sadness and trauma. Fortunate to have been baptized in 2017 at Faith Church, Connecticut. This is a guide on healing naturally from trauma with nature's remedies and the Word of God. There is power in prayer, and healing naturally has been a blessing. I'm happy to share knowledge. And that's true. And healing is something that you have to do over and over, never really ends. And choosing to do it naturally is painful, but you come out stronger. Wisdom. And I feel like in sharing my story, I'm able to help others. That's how I feel. All right, so let's get into the book of the hour. Wow. I started writing this book in 2021. It was published in 2022, and this is the first time that I'm reading it online. So, very nerve-wracking, but let's get into it. This book is dedicated to the memory of my father, Alfred Costas, veteran Korea Borinquenier. Thank you for your service y gracias por escogerme a mí, mi ángel guardián, como la canción Nuestro Juramento by Julio Jaramillo. Escribiré nuestra historia de amor. Gracias por siempre cuidar de mis pasos. Thomas Edward Aldinger, you have no idea what you saved me from. Thank you for serving this country and taking me out of a very dark environment. My hope is that I made you proud. My children, everything I do is for you. Gabe and Mia are my blessings. Thank you for always believing in me. Mama loves you both so much. My name is Diana, and I'm the product of an affair. I'm also a survivor of sexual, physical, psychological, and emotional abuse. For many years, I led a life of sadness, which led to untreated trauma. Although I went to college and had good jobs, I admit I was not a good person. My upbringing may have looked decent or pretty, but behind closed doors, no one knew the nightmare I lived as a child. I never knew about my father. All I knew is that he was murdered and that he knew he was going to die. I am from Yonkers, New York. I spent my early childhood in the ghetto, then moved to Puerto Rico for a few years. My parents and siblings are from the Bronx, New York. I'm going to take you back to the late 70s and early 80s at the height of the cocaine and crack era in New York City. The purpose of this book is to show how one kid from the inner city of Yonkers, New York, overcame challenges from an abusive environment and how she strived and persevered for the sake of her children. I do not want my children to follow in my footsteps, nor do I want them to suffer in the ways that I have. But first, let me give you a bit about my history. Hmm. And for that, you would have to purchase the book. My father was murdered on March 30th, 1983. Then the book speaks on my childhood. Uh, my stepfather sexually and physically abused me. This led to a lifetime of trauma and drugs. I worked as a stripper for several years and eventually did more than just dance and take my clothes off. I guess you can call me a former escort or prostitute. I have a very dark past. And because I am so pretty, people don't believe my dark past. That's why I often share that my pages are for your entertainment. Says here, I'm grateful to be alive today. And even though I'm struggling, I am grateful to be alive today. I would like to take this time to thank a very special person in my life. I do not know what he saw in me at the club, but to Mr. Thomas Edward Aldinger, I'm forever grateful you pulled me out of a very dark environment. You saved my life, and to this day, you have no idea what you have done for me. Had I continued in that lifestyle, I would not be alive today. I would have never thought to continue my education and be where I am today. Even the struggling artist life, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. I wish you knew just how much all this means to me. I'm a great mom as a result of your help. The words in this book can never express how much you mean to me. Thank you for serving the United States of America and for all that you have done for me and my family. You are loved eternally, darling. Wow. I left my home at the age of 17. I led a party lifestyle for a few years, but I did manage to get my GED during this time. I also experienced homelessness. I was renting cheap motel rooms and dancing to cover the cost of living. My boyfriend at the time was basically using me, and I had no idea. This is trauma. It limits you. I'm also a loving and caring person. I loved him at the time, so I was totally willing to strip to bring home the money to survive. Not knowing this also causes trauma. Never use your body to make money. I'm no one to judge on how to make money, but in my case, this was damaging to my body and my soul. In a sense, I died. You ever heard of the term dead man walking? That was me. My mother, this is true. My mother apologized to me one New Year's Eve. She never really told me what exactly she was apologizing for. Of course, I forgave her. At that time, at about 19, 20 years old, I had no idea what forgiveness meant, and I welcomed her back into my life. I thought of her as a good mom despite the trauma. She always had two jobs, and I watched her struggle. My mother tried her best with what she knew. And that's why I always have a special place for my mom. She tried her best. You know what it is to raise five children by yourself? Chances are the answer is probably no, you don't know. I don't know. I could never be as strong as her, you know? This is a wonderful book to read if you've experienced a lot of pain in your life. You need to know that you're not alone. And if I can recover, so can you. It says here, I'm proud to have continued to pursue my education despite of all of this. Knowledge is indeed power. In my quest for a better life, I took notes while I did my research and created a handbook of natural remedies to attain well-being. Two books that were very helpful in my healing were Honoring Your Ancestors by Mallory Bedoya and Crystals for Beginners by Karen Fraser. I found that in most cases, prayers and mantras were really helpful in my road to recovery after learning the truth of my father. I knew I had to do better in life. And guess what? No matter how long it takes, I'm going to have to do better. I'm going to have to do better. I have no choice. I have kids out here. So I have to do better. I gave my life completely to God. And guess what? Sometimes in life, you're going to have to surrender more than once. I gave up drinking in 2021 and decided on not dating any longer while I fix my life, no matter how long it takes. Also, as an oath to my father, I decided not to cut my hair. I was born sick. I had jaundice, and my father did not shave until I was completely well. It is an honor to let my hair grow in honor of my father's memory. Through my Taino and Native American studies, I have learned that our hair connects us to our ancestors. There is no other way to address murder other than injustice. And to learn the truth after 38 years really did do a number on me mentally. It really did. And that's to say the least. The purpose of this book is to show others that if a loved child like me, who struggled just to live, can make it out of the hood and love life with grace and honor, so can you. When you surrender to God, not man, you will begin to understand that there is a special and unique purpose just for you, as there is a special and unique purpose just for me. For many years, I tolerated abuse and disrespect, whether it was from family members, romantic relationships, even down to the workplace. I hated my life, to be honest. So I led a life of depression, anxiety, and PTSD. I was even prescribed medicine for my bipolar disorder, and I'm taking medicine to this day. I'm a proud mental health warrior, and again, if I can do this, so can you. One thing about me was that I never stopped trying. Something inside me, despite my troubles, kept telling me to keep going. I believe my Father has been watching me live in sadness from afar, from heaven. He has been watching me in my anger, fits of rage, living wildly, being a mean mom at times to my children, not reaching my potential. I needed a miracle because the way that I was living was not life. Something needing to give, and it was not going to be me. I could no longer hurt myself and others in the past. I cut myself in desperation. This could not be life, I thought. This could not be reality. Sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to wake up. And guess what? Sometimes you're going to hit rock bottom more than once, but you still can't give up. Life will give you chances to either continue the same path of damage or do better. One night in July of 2019, I had a panic attack. I cut myself pretty badly. After I calmed down, I looked at my arm and thought, I can't continue to do this. I've worked toward my wellness and made a promise to God that I would never hurt myself again. And my blessings began to unravel. And this is when I began to realize and understand the importance of therapy and my baptism. And guess what, guys? I'm back to that. I'm back to realizing the importance of therapy and my baptism. While I love studying all these religions, it is Jesus Christ who saved me. So I am back once again, begging God for forgiveness and surrendering to Jesus Christ who saved me. And if he saved me before, he'll save me again and again and again, so long as I surrender. And indeed, I have. Says here, my faith grew stronger, and so did I. I began to use my voice. I was always the quiet one. But when I surrendered to God, He gave me my heart and backbone back. My miracle became clear to me, and I will forever be thankful to Faith Church, Connecticut, for saving me. Taking the dip was the best thing I have ever done next to having children. And this is the truth. God had to return my life back to me, right? So of course he would make me the poor girl once again. That's my life. And if I came out of it before, I will surely come out of it again. This is testimony. What I'm going through right now will be testimony for God's grace, you know. I became a baptized born again in 2017. Though it took a few years, I believe this is how I was able to uncover the truth about my father and his murder. Of course, there's no way, with the way that I was living in the past, that God would grant me this truth. I had to surrender completely, submerge myself, be prayed over in order to learn this truth so that I can learn it with grace. Yes. This is an excellent book for anybody that feels like they're alone. It says here to be baptized and born again is not an overnight experience. You will continue to sin, though they will lessen in severity. Then you'll have a moment of realization, as I did, and thought, this is not the way I want to live. And that was me back in 2021. I surrendered and chose God's way in February 2021. I believe God prepared me for the life of a healer. And, we make light of that word healer. It's just simply me sharing my story of recovery. And I have had to fail several times and recover just to show you how God works. Mm-hmm. It says here, I needed to have horrible experiences in order to relate to the world. I fully understand that everything happens for a reason, and I'm eternally grateful for my culture and heritage. I'm even grateful for my yesterday's pain and struggles because it made me a better and stronger person today. In my Taino heritage, though I'm still learning, I am practicing to become a medicine woman shaman. In our culture, one will possess these skills and show our elders. I wish I could do that. But unfortunately, due to my father's passing, I have no elders. But I do have a community on Facebook called Taino Education, Culture, and Spirituality. I'm an avid reader. My love for my Taino heritage inspired me to create a Taino book club on Facebook. And we're now nearly up to 800 members. Yay! All right. So because it's gonna get into like wellness stuff, I'm gonna leave it right here. This is a guidebook in healing naturally, and it's a book that you can refer to over and over. And I'm using it now. Again, I'm also working on the continuation to this book, but it's a bigger project, so I'm taking my sweet time with it. Thank you all for watching. Peace.